Good morning, everyone. In the previous session of Human Resource Management, I explained about the various objectives of human resource planning. And in this session, I am going to explain the process of human resource planning, which will include the various steps of HRP, how it is conducted, what is the sequence of this step. I am going to explain in this session. Now, in the process of HRP, there are around 10 or 11 steps. And one by one, I am going to explain each and every step in a detailed way. So first of all, whenever the organization prepares to plan regarding the human resource, first of all, they have to completely understand the organizational plan, because the HR plan or the HRP needs to be in accordance with the organizational plan. If the objectives of the organization, if the plans of organization regarding diversification, expansion and other things, if they are separate, if they are different from each other, then whatever objective HRP has, it cannot be achieved. So whenever the organization wants to prepare a plan for human resource, first of all, they need to understand the organizational plan, the various aspects of organizational plan, the capability of the organization, what type of human resource are required in the organization, what kind of workforce they have at present in the organization, what are their potential and capabilities our existing employees have. So we need to analyze each and every aspect, the demand for human resource, the supply for human resource. These are the various aspects which the organization needs to focus on, and after that, and after doing all that, they will plan regarding the human resource. So in the human resource planning, we have to we have to understand what are the various aspects which the organization must focus, and what are the various steps which comes under the process of human resource planning. So first of all, the first step of HRP, the process of HRP, is analyzing the organizational goal. Like I said, organizational goals need to be analyzed, but it has to be analyzed in a proper manner. Like first of all, they need to find out what are the various plans of the organization, whether it is production plan, whether it is marketing plan, various types of plan, all the types of plan relating to all the departments need to be analyzed, and each and every plan need to be again divided into subunits, or unit wise division must be done. For example, if you are focusing on production plan, what are the various divisions which are under the production plan, what are the various sections of production plan. So each and every plan prepared by the organization must be analyzed in a unit wise manner, must be analyzed in such a way that the HRP will be created in accordance to the plan. See, each and every department has a certain requirement of human resource, and that requirement is actually can be understood by going through by understanding the workload or activities which a unit is supposed to uh, execute, or which a particular unit is supposed to do in the department. So every department has certain level of workload and certain kinds of activity, and these kind of activities will be completed by certain number of people having certain kind of qualities. So in order to understand each and every aspect of a plan, we need to thoroughly understand the various types of plan within the organization, and then each and every plan needs to be understood in a unit wise manner. Then we are going to plan according to the requirement of the department, requirement of the entire organization. Now, organization creates various types of plans regarding production, marketing, distribution of goods and services. So these are the plans, and in order to execute these plans, they are creating they are creating many programs also. Now, while analyzing these organizational plans and programs, we have to also understand the practicability of this program, whether these programs are whether these programs can be actually executed or not. Suppose if we have created a program which is not very realistic, which is unrealistic in nature, which seems to be very difficult to be executed, such programs cannot be implemented within the organization. So whenever we are preparing or we are planning regarding the human resource, we need to understand what are the various organizational plans, what are the unit wise organizational plans, what are the programs created by the organization for each and every organizational plan for each and every department of the organization. And we need to also understand whether these programs and plans can actually be executed or not. So on that basis, the requirement of human resource can be estimated and can be predicted. Okay, now let us move to the second point of steps of HRP process. So the second step here is that forecasting the overall human resource requirement. Now here we have to forecast the total requirement of human resource by the organization, the total number of people required within an organization. Now first of all, we need to analyze the future plans of the organization. Like I said, whether they are planning for any kind of expansion, any kind of diversification. So first of all, we need to analyze those plans, and then we will forecast the requirement based on those plans. Suppose if an organization wants to expand, wants to even diversify means introducing a completely new product or introducing or entering into a new kind of business. So that kind of planning required different kinds of resources, and one of the resources is human resource. So first of all, we are going to see about, we are going to understand our existing human resource, the potentials and capabilities of our existing human resource, and what kind of programs we have in order to improve the skills and knowledge of our existing human resource, so that they can be suitable for the future requirement. Okay, so in the second step, we have to understand the present capability of the workforce and the future requirement of the human resource, and then we are going to make plans for finding out these human resource, so that during the time of requirement, our necessities, our requirements of human resource can actually be fulfilled. So here it says that what are the various methods of forecasting of human resource? The first one is managerial judgment. Now managerial judgment, what does it mean? Now people who are at the higher position, who understand a particular department, like the managerial head of a particular department. Now these people understand the workload of a department, how many number of people are required within a department in order to execute the activities, in order to perform those activities. Then it also they are also able to understand what kind of qualities are required in order to perform a task, in order to perform a job. So managerial judgment simply means that we need to take the opinion of these managers, of these departmental heads, regarding their future requirements and what kind and what number of people will be required by them. So the managers will actually estimate how many number of people will be required by the department by analyzing the workload, by analyzing the existing capability and skills of the employees, and to what extent these skills can be developed in future. So managers have the opportunity here to estimate the total requirement of human resource in terms of quality as well as in terms of number. Second one is statistical technique. So statistical technique usually have two methods under it, that is ratio trend analysis, and next one is econometric model. In ratio trend analysis, what happens? They find out the ratio on basis of the past data, past information. That is, how many number of people were working in a particular time period, what was the production level in that time period, what was the work level, what was the number of hours they used to put in so that these workload, these activities were completed during the past, and then they will compare it with the future level, that is future work level, future production level, and according to that they are going to estimate how many number of people are required to fulfill the future requirement of this work level, increased work level, increased production level. So on the basis of past information and past data, they are able to calculate the future requirement of human resource. Now, one of the important aspect of demand forecasting is that it not only predicts the number of people required in the future, but it also estimates that what kind of people are required, that is on the basis of quality, what kind of skills, knowledge and other aspects must be possessed by these people so that they can perform the job effectively and efficiently and contribute towards the organization's success. So it is not only estimating about the total number of people, but also estimating what kind of people are required in terms of skills, knowledge, potential, capability and competencies. Okay, so that is the first point, that is ratio trend analysis. Understand the collect the past record, past data, then compare it with the future increased level of production or workforce, and on that basis, by using this method we can estimate how many number of people are required and what kind of skills and knowledge they need to have in order to manage the workforce or future level of workforce or workload. Now the second method under statistical technique is econometric model. Now in this model, various variables are identified. Now these variables can be external factors or internal factors, and these factors actually have influence, or it actually impacts the activity of the organization. It also impacts the requirement of human resource. For example, any kind of change in rules and regulations created by the government, increase in competition, or for example, a particular industry is not doing good in the present scenario. So these are the external variables which has influence over the entire organization, and ultimately influences the activities of the organization, the workload of the organization and various other aspects. So in this model we will find out what are the various variables and to what extent they influence the organization in terms of the number of human resource and also in terms of the quality of human resource. Now these variables also influence the workforce, the people which are required in an organization. It has to some extent direct or indirect influence over the workforce of the organization. For example, if the government, the new labor law has introduced a new law regarding increase in the wage or salary of the employees, and every organization needs to follow that rule. So in that case, it may not be possible for the organization to employ large number of workers because they have to pay more wages. So these kinds of variables have directly or indirectly they affect the workforce, they affect the requirement of workforce in an organization. So the next point that we are going to study is work study technique. So after managerial judgment and statistical technique, there is work study technique. This is the third method of forecasting the demand for human resource. Now in this method, the total production or the total number of activities to be done within an industry, within a company needs to be explained in terms of clear units. Means how much amount of work is actually there in a particular department, in the production department or in any other department. So it needs to be explained in clear units. Now then they have to find out how many number of hours are required in order to complete these units, to complete these activities. Now they will find out the total number of hours required to complete a particular activity or a particular, or creating a particular unit of product. So these are the number of so first of all they are going to find out the total units to be produced or total activities to be performed within a department, and then they will find out the total number of hours required to produce or to perform each and every single activity, each unit. And then they are going to find out how many hours a worker is supposed to take in order to create a unit or in order to perform the activity. Now estimating the man hour, they need to also keep in mind different aspects of human resource like absenteeism, the break time that workers take. They cannot work for a continuous time period, 7 hours or 8 hours. They need to take certain time within that working hour. So everything must be kept in mind, and then they will estimate the total number of hours required in order to perform a particular activity. Now this will also include other aspects like the capability of the employees, the skills and knowledge of the employees. See, efficient employees will take less number of hours while performing an activity, but inefficient employees will take more number of hours. So all these things must be kept in mind. The present capability of the existing employees, and what are the future requirement of the organization, to what extent these capabilities, these potentials and these skills need to be increased. So everything can be estimated under the work study technique. Okay, now a first point, as I have explained, analyzing the organizational plan. Then I explained forecasting the overall human resource requirement, and these are the three methods through which the demand forecasting of human resource can take place or can be used. Organization can use any of these methods. Now the third point here is supply forecasting. In the previous point we have forecasted regarding the demand. Now we have to forecast regarding the supply, whether the required number of people that we demand are actually available or not, and at what time and from what source they can be available. Now, in order to perform supply forecasting, every organization needs to have certain kind of information and data regarding the existing human resource, that is the existing inventory. So existing inventory here means the total number of people who are already working within the organization. But here we have to find out how many number of people are working in the entire organization, and then we will find out how many number of people are working in each and every department, in each and every section of the organization. So here it simply means that we need to find out the existing inventory on the basis of unit, on the basis of department, as well as on the basis of designation. So how many number of people are working under a proper designation within a particular department, that we need to find out. Now there are also various aspects like the job, like existing inventory. There is another aspect like head counts. Now head counts simply means the calculating or finding out the total number of people working in a or working under a particular project, working in a particular department, working under a particular designation. That is simply counting the total number of people working in a particular area. Then comes job family. Job family means like the total number of clerks, or so like we have a job family like clerk is a job family, how many number of people are working under the designation. So that we need to find out. So each and every employee working in the organization must be counted and must be accounted for. Now let us discuss the second point under supply forecasting. Next one is age composition of human resource. Now every organization has many experienced people, as well as they have many young people who are new to the organization, and many people for whom this is their first job. So we need to find out how many number of people are working in terms of experience, in terms of age composition, whether we have too many experienced people, people who are between 45 to 55, how many number of people are within the age group of 35 to 45. So we have to understand the age composition of the organization, the existing age composition, whether we are having too many old people or too many new people. Now they must strike a balance between old and new, because experienced people, old people have they have large many number of years as experience, they are mature, they are not that aggressive, but they understand the situation in a proper way, in a proper sequence, and then take a decision. They do not take a decision on an in an aggressive way, or they understand the situation properly and then take a decision, or even then give a suggestion. But young people, they are more energetic, they want to try everything, they want to try new things, they are willing to take risks. So we need to have a proper combination of young people and old people, that is energy as well experience. So we have to first of all understand what is our age composition in our organization, and what kind of age composition we require in future, based on the organizational plan. So that is the second point of supply forecasting. Third one is potential losses. Now, what is potential loss here? During the course of time, many people leave the organization. Some people leave willingly. Some people get better opportunity in other organization, that's why they leave the job. Some people get retired, and there are other reasons like death or any other personal problem. So these are the various reasons behind an employee leaving the organization. Those are considered as potential losses. So we have to find out how many number of people we have at present, and what kind and how many number of people are going to leave the organization in future due to retirement or voluntary retirement or any other aspect. So these are the potential losses, and in order to forecast the supply of human resource, we need to understand how many number of people will be leaving the organization after a certain time period or in future. Okay. Now the next point here is potential addition. Potential addition means like creation of new job, appointment of new employee, new people working, joining the organization. These things also take place. So we have to also understand what are the potential addition. If you are expanding, if you are diversifying, if you are including more and more number of jobs, so that will lead to potential addition into the organization. That is increase in human resource, increase in the workforce. Then the last one here is analyze the source of supply. After understanding the present, after collecting information about the existing human resource, what kind of people we have, what is the age composition, what are the potential losses and potential additions, then we are going to find out analyze the sources through which we can appoint human resource. Now these sources can be internal and external. Now if the organization already has many people, like even excessive people, excessive number of people, now these people can be promoted, can be transferred, keeping in mind the future organizational plans. Or if the existing employees are not sufficient in terms of number, or if they do not possess the requirements in terms of quality, we can go for external sources. So there are various sources through which we can appoint people. So these are the points, or these are the elements which come under supply forecasting. So these are the points which actually help the organization to understand about the existing workforce, and it also helps to analyze or to find out the future, or to find out the supply of human resource, the source of supply, from which source from which the organization can actually appoint people for the future human resource requirement. Okay, so this is the second point of human resource, this is the second point of the process of human resource planning. So the next point in the process of human resource planning is estimating the net human resource requirement. See, in the previous points, that is demand forecasting and supply forecasting, we have found out the total demand of the overall requirement of human resource, and what are the various sources through which we can appoint these people within the organization. And now we have to estimate the net human resource requirement. Usually what happens, whatever the number of people or the kind of people required by the human resource, it may not be possible to get those number of people with those qualities, because there is always a difference between the requirement and the supply of human resource. So that we need to find out. So net human resource requirement means we have to find out what are the total number of people and what kind of people are required, needs to be determined in relation with the overall requirement of the human resource. That is keeping in mind the demand forecast and supply forecast on the future date, that on this particular date we need these many number of people having these kinds of potentials and qualities. So we need to compare that, the net human resource, with the overall human resource requirement of the organization. That is, what do we actually need and what are we supposed to get during that particular future time period. So that we need to understand. After that, we are going to find out the difference between the overall requirement of human resource and the supply of human resource, because usually what happens, the demand and supply may not be properly balanced, may not meet. Whatever we demand, we may not get that number and that kind of human resource on that future time period. So that needs to be kept in mind. So net human resource simply means the difference between the total requirement and actually what we are supposed to get in the future time period. So that is the fourth point. In the next session, I am going to explain the other points of the process of HRP, that is action plan, then modification of organizational plan, retention plan. So these are the points which I am going to explain in the next session. So that's it for today. I am going to discuss the rest of the portions in the next session. So thank you.